A very warm welcome to all my dear learners. Welcome to my incredible class. Here you will learn science for classes 6, 7 and 8 in a really fun and engaging manner. So my dear learners, how you all are? Doing good? Well, we have already started with chapter number 2 of grade 8. Now in this class we are continuing the topics. Okay, do you remember last class what things we have studied? We have studied about cells. Yes or no? We have already studied about cells. How many types of cells? 2 types of cells we have studied. What are those cells? Yes, animal cells and plant cells. And you remember the basic parts of the cell? What were the basic parts of the cell? Come on, speak up. Yes, it is. First we have outer layer called cell membrane. Then we have nucleus, cytoplasm. Yes, and if talking about plants, what extra features God has provided them? Yes, they have extra features like cell wall outside to the cell membrane. Good. Then vacuole for storing food. Then yes, plastids or chloroplast. Chloroplast are kind of plastids which has chlorophyll in it. Chlorophyll, it's very important for photosynthesis, and photosynthesis is a process of making food by the plants. You remember? Well, if any organism has chloroplast, means they are able to prepare their food. Clear? So these things we have studied in the last class. So now we are going to continue the further topics in this class. Now, have you observed that while studying that animal cells and plant cells, though they have the same name cell, but does not look similar? Yes? Why? And what about other cells in our body? Do they all look similar or different? Yes, they look different. Why? Because of their functions. For example, here I have taken 2 cells, that is, one is muscle cell, second is nerve cell. And for nerve cell we have another name called, yes, somebody said it is neuron. Neuron, okay, nerve cell is also called neuron. Clear? Now, if you look at their functions, what are their functions? Muscle cells, if I take, it's present all over your body. If I take an example, it is present at your gut. Yes, and you might have known that when you eat food, how your food is pushed down? It simply goes down? No, the complex food has to be pushed down. Okay, and to push that, process takes place. The pushing process takes place in our gut region. How? For example, this is your food, then the muscles in your gut actually pushes them down. Okay, it pushes down. How they are able to push your food down? How? If they can only push your foot down if they are flexible. If they are flexible, okay, flexible, easy to move. Okay, now to be flexible, a special shape they have, that shape is called spindle shape. What shape? Spindle shape. Clear? So muscle cells are often flexible and spindle shape. Okay, now if I talk about neurons, okay, neurons are the cells which are present, which have the functions to carry your messages. What is their function? To carry messages. To where? To brain. Okay? So, see, everything is controlled by our brain. Our brain has to feel the things. And how the brain feels? When somebody tells that, yes, a painful event is taking place. Okay, it's so beautiful things. It is a joke. We have to laugh. Okay, somebody has to tell brain, then only brain gives the order. Okay, laugh, this is a joke, you are supposed to laugh. Oh, it is very sharp, if you place your foot on it, you get hurt, and that pain, feelings, the feeling of pain will come. Okay, then sometimes you tell something and instantly say ouch. Why? Your brain suddenly felt that. Okay, reflex action is also there, which is something different, but usually what happens, your brain has to feel the things, and the feelings are, how these feelings are transferred? These feelings are transferred through neurons. Okay, neurons are present all over our body. Clear? So these neurons carry messages to brain, so that brain can regulate the further things. Okay, now to carry that messages, they should be connected properly, just like the wirings of our house. If they are not connected, if our fan and the switch are not connected properly, even though we turn on the switch, but the fan will not run. Okay, we will turn on the switch, but the bulb will not glow if the connection is not proper. That you have already learned in class 7th. Okay, switch, connections, wire, circuit, everything you remember? Yes. So this connection should be there. So this shape, this particular shape of the neuron is for the connection, for the proper connection. How? This is a neuron. Similar kind of neuron is connected down. Similar kind of neuron is placed in a sequence. They are placed. Okay, neurons are placed one after one. For example, if this is a neuron, another neuron is there, another neuron is there. Okay, this is how they are connected all over our body. Okay, so because of that, they have this particular shape. Now, by now you understood why the cells have specific shapes. For they are being shaped according their functions. Clear? Good. Now we will move further. Any doubts? You can anytime comment down. So my dear learners, earlier in last class I showed you a picture of a beautiful house. How that house was formed? By placing bricks one after the one. Yes. Similarly, I told you our cells are arranged in such a way to form our beautiful body. Okay, so our beautiful body is actually a complex structure. Okay, cells have been arranged and formed us. Now, when cells are arranged in a particular way, certain names have been given. For example, when a group of cells join together, when group of cells join together, we call it a tissue. What is a tissue? Tissue is nothing but group of cells. Clear? When these tissues group up, okay, when these tissues group up, we call them a organ. Clear? What I told you? Is it clear? I am telling you, when group of cells arrange, we call it an tissue, and when tissues group up, we call it an organ. From there, a full organ system is formed. An organ system is formed. And from there, we have a beautiful organism. Yes? These things are clear? What is an organ? It is a group of tissues having a particular function. It is group of tissues or tissues joined up for a particular function. Okay, function. I will write it clearly. Fine. So these things are clear. So all our organism or human bodies, actually originates from a single cell. Our whole body, organism, a human body actually originates from a single cell. It originates from single cell. And what is that called? It is called an egg. Okay. So as I told you that life originates from a single cell called egg. This egg multiply again and again and again and again to form the tissues, the organs and so and so. Okay, and whole organisms are formed. Now such types of organisms which are formed from many cells, hundreds and thousands and millions of cells, we call them as multicellular organism. That is, we can categorize living beings on the basis of their number of cells. On the basis of their number of cells, we can categorize them into unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. Unicellular organism, multicellular. Unicellular means, uni means single, that is single cell. Okay, only one cell, they have enough, one cell is enough for them to live. Okay, and there is multicellular organisms. Okay, now if I talk about unicellular, that is, we have two categories. I am strictly taking the categories mentioned in your curiosity textbook. Okay, so this is bacteria and second one is protozoa. What it is? Bacteria and protozoa. And we have some examples. Always remember, my dear learners, whenever you mention something in science, you have to always give an example. Okay, without example the science is incomplete. Okay, so this one is a bacteria. We have two bacteria discussed, that is lactobacillus and rhizobium. Lactobacillus and rhizobium. Clear? And we have some examples of protozoa. Okay, they are also single celled. And what are those? Oh, there's a mistake here I found. This is amoeba and paramecium. Okay, paramecium. So we have two examples of protozoa, that is amoeba and paramecium. Clear? Good. Now talking about multicellular organisms, we have examples of algae, fungi, plants, animals, human beings, that is there. Okay, and but specifically if we talk about, we have algae and fungi. Not maybe they are not made of thousands and millions and trillions of cells, but if they are able to multiply and formed of more than one cell, we will categorize them as multicellular. Okay, so what I said, algae and fungi. Now we have some examples, very important examples. What are those examples? It is first spirulina, chlorella and diatoms. Okay, they are very highly protein rich foods. Okay, they are even though we call them we categorize them under algae, they are actually plant like algae. We call them microalgae. Okay, and they have so many good properties. Shall I say, they have a cleansing property, that they clean the environment. Not only that, they are a rich food of protein. They have high protein content organisms. Okay, these days even human beings take them in their diet for protein deficiency. If you have protein deficiency, these algae, spirulina, chlorella, diatoms are a good source of proteins. Well, next we have fungi and fungus. Fungi is a plural of fungus. Okay, so that we have molds, bread molds. If you have observed, if you have seen, sometimes bread has some green color spot on it. Okay, why? Because it is spoiled. That is why it has green patches all over. Okay, and those green patches, if we see under microscope, we know that they fall into a category called molds or bread molds. Okay, so molds are multicellular, but there is an exception in fungus. Yeast is a single cell fungi. Okay, yeast is a single cell fungi. You might have heard this word yeast. Yeast is a widely used name. Where we use them? Yes, for making, when we use making cakes, okay, when we bake cake, or we have to make bhaturas. Next is plants and animals, of course. By now you understood that only one cell cannot make a plant, neither an animal. Yes, so on the basis of number of cells, we can categorize them into unicellular and multicellular organisms. Now, plants and animals, when I say, it is easily visible to us. Yes or no? You don't need a specific tool, a special kind of tool to see them. You can see them through your naked eye. But some, just like if I say bacteria, protozoa, algae, fungi, these are some organisms. These are some organisms. These are some organisms which I cannot see through my naked eye. Which I cannot see through my, what are these? Bacteria, yes, protozoa, algae, fungi. These are some of the organisms which I cannot see through my, yes, eyes. I cannot see them through my eyes. I need special kind of tools because they are very, 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 very small. Okay. So, specifically if I tell about bacteria, protozoa, we totally cannot see them. Okay. One more category if I say, there are viruses. Okay. So, bacteria and protozoa, if I tell you, we totally cannot see them through our naked eye. So, we call them as microorganisms. What do we call them? Microorganisms. Okay. So, we are going to learn about microorganisms. If you ask me what ma'am, virus is also a microorganism. But virus has one problem. It is actually acellular. That is, it is not made up of cell. It is acellular. Acellular. Okay. Acellular. And one more thing is there, that when it enters a body or a cell, it becomes a living thing. Okay, it takes the all nutrition whatever needed from that cell for its growth and everything. But if it is outside the cell, it is a dead thing. Okay, it is a non-living thing. So virus has some problems. That is, first thing, it is a acellular organism. Second, it needs a living cell. It needs a cell for its growth. Okay. When it grows, this virus grows, it normally causes diseases. And the famous disease you all know is, yes, corona. You know this coronavirus. That is why we are told that we cannot see them. We need to wash our hands every time so that this virus does not enter our hands and it get into our cells and grow. That's why we often wash our hands. Okay. So, this is clear about virus. So, the organisms which we cannot see at all through our naked eyes, okay, or the organisms which are very, 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 very small, we call them as microscopic organisms, okay, or microorganisms. So, what the name? Microorganisms. Now, we are going to study about microorganisms.